Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some of your day with me. And we're going to be talking about 20-pound bass today. I want to have a conversation about what happened to them, because I remember when I started reading Bassmaster magazine in the mid 1970s and up until maybe 10 or 15 years ago, you saw 20-pound bass getting caught occasionally. Not all the time, but you'd consistently see them. One giant would get caught about one every 1 to 3 years. And you guys, you just don't see it anymore. They've completely disappeared. Sort of want to talk about that in today's video and discuss the possibility if another world record is ever going to get caught. Also, guys, just wanted to show you one quick thing here for the month of June. We're almost in the month of June at the filming this video. June is swim jig month, guys. Late May, June, best time of year to fish a swim jig. This is the Megabass Ouzo swimmer with a little Megabass 3-inch Spark shad on it, little downsized finesse swim jig. Guys, they will hammer this thing in the month of June, just swimming it shallow around whatever shallow cover you have in your lake. So I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys want to pick one up. I'll put the Spark shad link in there and the Ouzo swimmer. They just absolutely will eat this little thing up. It's got a little spinner underneath it here, so link in the description there. Okay, 20 pounders. I remember that, in fact, the thumbnail on this video here, that was a 20-pound bass caught by Dave Zimmerly back at, I think it was Lake Miramar in California. I remember reading that when I was a kid. It's like I looked at that bass and it's like, God, that thing, it doesn't even look like a bass. It's so dang big. And, you know, over the course of the next 20 or 30 years, specifically out of California, in fact, completely out of California, I don't think there's a 20-pounder been caught in, well, I know there hadn't been a 20-pounder caught in anywhere else, but California consistently produced some 20-pounders. And then the world record was tied from an angler that caught a 22-pound 4-ounce bass that tied the world record in Japan. I think it's been about 10 years ago. Caught that on some live bait. But the thing about it is you used to see a lot of like those giants being caught, you know, the 18 to 21 pound bass. They'd get caught with some consistency. Even in like Texas, there were some 17 and 18 pounders caught there. I believe the Florida state record is 19 pounds, but you don't hardly ever see giant bass caught in Florida anymore. You'll see some 10 pounders, but you don't see the true giants like those 15-pound plus ones. Those are pretty much relegated to the state of California. So let's talk a little bit about what the deal is here. Why do you not see them anymore? And I'm sort of going to give you my theory and my opinion on it. First of all, they get fished for too much. It's like one of the downsides about bass fishing is when something revolutionary comes by, like when somebody figures out a lake's got 20-pound bass in it, or there's a lure that catches big ones, or a lake like O.H. Ivy in Texas puts out these giant bass. As soon as that happens, or anytime this happens, it's basically a death blow for that lake or that technique. One of the things about bass anglers, it's like when something new comes along like that they think is going to give them some instant success, they just flock to it like a herd of cows. So any lake that produces a giant bass, whether it be some of the, like Bullard's Bar for those giant spotted bass in California, or all those little small San Diego lakes where they caught the 20-pounders, or some of the lakes in Texas there, soon as the word gets out that there's big ones caught there, they just get hammered to the point of where it basically destroys the fishery. And that's just one of the realities that sucks about it, because you can't get around that in today's information age. So first thing, the reason you don't see many 20-pounders out there is the fishing pressure. In order to catch a 20-pound bass, it is like one of the most rarest feats on the world. And a 20-pound bass does not get 20 pounds by being stupid. And there's not many of them out there. They are genetic freaks in order to get to 20 pounds. So when you have a lot of people fishing for them, it's not that they get culled out, but they just go away. You don't ever see them biting with that. Other thing with that is simply those big fish like that are just not there anymore. It's like with the advent of all the technology we have, especially now with forward-facing sonar, all the advancements in the lure technology, like the big giant swim baits and the big giant glide baits, a lot of those big fish have gotten taken out, and they've just sort of disappeared. I don't think, in my opinion, guys, I don't think we're ever going to see it again. I would be very surprised if another world record bass or even a 20-pound bass is caught in the United States again, given the fact of the relentless fishing pressure that we have on these fish. It just makes the odds of that are extremely high against it. Now, if there is a 20-pound bass caught, I look for it to be caught in Mexico or some Central American country that would probably wind up being a fish taco or something down there. I don't know if they'd even report it. A lot of the people that catch them down there, especially if they catch them on live bait, they don't hold the same sway in those countries as they do over here in terms of like being true trophies. So it's sort of like reflected even in the big bass that are even smaller, because one thing that I've noticed across the country in general is you just don't see those consistent giant bass like you used to. Look what's happened to Lake Chickamauga. Chickamauga used to put out those freaks, those 11 to 14 pounders pretty regularly. We haven't seen that in a long time at Chickamauga. Even on a smaller level here at Table Rock Lake where I fish, back 40 years ago, it took any tournament that you fished down there that I fished at Table Rock Lake, it always took an 8 or 9 pound bass to win big bass, even in a buddy tournament. And now it's like it usually takes about 5 or 5.5 pounds to win big bass. And that's pretty much straightforward across the board. And then if you take forward-facing sonar out of the equation and try to, still maintain where those big bass went with traditional bass fishing techniques, it even goes down even more, because most of those giants that you see getting caught down in those Texas lakes like O.H. Ivy and some of those big bass lakes down there, Fork, those are all spotlighting fish, every single one of them, that would never have gotten caught without spotlighting. So my prediction is probably the next world record bass is definitely going to be caught on live bait, probably somewhere in Mexico or Central America. I just don't see it happening here. I just think those fish are so educated, and I think that their numbers have been reduced by such a dramatic amount that we're just not going to see it anymore. I don't believe we are. I mean, never say never, but the odds against it are extremely slim. That's just one of the byproducts. That's one of the downsides of bass fishing getting popular and us teaching people how to catch fish better and better. The fish populations suffer, especially the larger populations of fish in a conjunction with that. And we don't really have fisheries managers in this country, aside from like the state of Texas, that really have much of a focus on trophy bass fisheries. You don't notice it that much, or it's just not a priority with them. So anyway, guys, that's just a few random thoughts there. Let me know what y'all think about it. We'll talk later.